What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of 90 Day Fiancé Before the 90 Days, Season 7, The Tell All Part 2. So it starts off with Niles and Adnan still kind of going at it because in last week's episode, they really got into it. And Niles had threatened to break Adnan's face because Adnan felt like Niles disrespected his relationship with Tiger Lily by saying that he was very controlling. And then Niles felt like Adnan disrespected his relationship with Matilda by inferring that Matilda was only with him for the money and that he was basically her sugar daddy. So they're still going back and forth. Luckily, Sean allows the testosterone to run its course and we're able to get back on track. So Niles and Matilda. So they bring up the issue of how could there have been such a huge misunderstanding between Niles and Matilda regarding Niles' purpose in going to Ghana. So was it really just to get to know her better, or was he really going there to marry her? Like, why was this misunderstanding? Because throughout the season, he kept saying that I'm only going to Ghana to get to know her better. I have no intentions of getting married on my very first trip there. Whereas Matilda was planning a wedding and she thought that they were going to be getting married on his very first trip to Ghana. So at the tell all, they were like, exactly where was the breakdown in communication regarding this issue? And Niles took responsibility and said that it was probably his fault for not communicating better. He probably did mislead Matilda into thinking that they were going to get married, but he never clarified to her that really wasn't going to be possible on this trip for whatever reason. So he took responsibility for that. It wasn't her putting 20 on 10. It wasn't like she was forcing the marriage on him or doing things without him knowing. It was basically him miscommunicating with her and leading her on. Like, he told her that he wanted to get married on this trip, but then I guess he changed his mind at some point and he was too scared to really clarify that. I'm assuming that's how it went down. The bottom line is Niles took responsibility for that. So Mr. Ark joins in remotely from Ghana. And the question was to Mr. Ark, do you think that Niles broke his promise about bringing Matilda to the United States within 5 months? And Mr. Ark does not mince his words. Straight up, no shooter. He was like, yes, he misled. He broke his promise to me. Yes. And so Niles also took responsibility for that, saying that, he really didn't know what he was getting himself into with this whole immigration process, and that he is working again and he is working to save money to go through with the whole K1 visa process for Matilda. But he also talks about how he wants to travel back to Ghana to see Matilda. And so Sean Robinson was like, well, if you use money, whatever you saved up, if you use that to go visit her, that's going to kind of prolong the whole K1 visa process. So they asked Matilda, do you want Niles to come and visit you? Because he's going to be spending his money that he's been saving for the K1 visa just to take a trip to Ghana just to see her. And Matilda was like, yes, I want to see my husband. I want to see my husband. And so Sean asks Adnan if it's a good idea for Niles to go visit Matilda, and basically, waste his money on a trip where he could be using that money to actually get her to come to America. And Adnan really didn't answer the question because he is still caught up on how Niles disrespected his marriage. He's still caught up in all of that. And he is wanting Niles to apologize for what he said, and he wants Niles to admit that his marriage is strong and there's no one's controlling anybody, and that him and Tiger Lily are good. He wants Niles to admit to this. And so Niles is basically like, Adnan, just leave me the hell alone. This is, me and Matilda's segment, and we're not talking about you. So Adnan demands Niles to answer him. And he was really talking to him in a very disrespectful way. He was like, answer me now. Like he was talking to somebody's child or something. And I swear to God, if Niles had, if Niles had followed through with his threat, I don't think anybody would have held him back, because it was really harsh how Adnan was talking to Niles. And Niles just wanted to stay on track with the topic at hand, and he refused to give in to Adnan in any kind of way. Adnan tells, okay, so Adnan just kept on and he wouldn't stop. He like poking at Niles and making Niles admit that he was wrong about his relationship with Tiger Lily. And it got to the point where Niles was getting very frustrated because it's like they were not able to move forward with anything because Adnan was just so demanding and so insistent on Niles taking back his words. And so Niles got up and he left. He needed a breather. He needed to walk away from it all. So he gets up and he leaves the stage. Matilda tells Adnan, you need to chill. And I don't like how you're talking to my husband and disrespecting my husband. So you need to calm the hell down with how you're talking to Niles. So Adnan talks to Mr. Ark. I forgot exactly what he said. He turns his attention to Mr. Ark, and I forgot what he said, but he was like, Mr. Ark, don't you agree? I don't know what he said, but he was talking to Mr. Ark and he was like really hyped up. And he wasn't being mean or disrespectful to Mr. Ark. He was just wanting Mr. Ark to agree with something. And Mr. Ark saw that Adnan was becoming unhinged. And so he was telling Adnan, okay, young man, calm down. We don't need all the theatrics. So Sean asks Mr. Ark if he had pushed Niles or pressured Miles into marrying Matilda. And Mr. Ark was like, no, I didn't pressure him to marry Matilda. Niles kept talking about wanting to do the knocking ceremony. And he thought that the knocking ceremony really wasn't that big of a deal. You do the knocking ceremony, and then he's going to go back to America and then come back when he's good and ready to marry Matilda. And I was just explaining to him that the process was not that. The process was the knocking ceremony and then you get married. There should be no lapse of time between the knocking ceremony and the actual wedding ceremony. So Mr. Ark was like, I wasn't pressuring him. I was letting him know that if you want to do the knocking ceremony, then this also has to happen as well. You can't do one without the other. And Niles was the one that was insisting on doing the knocking because otherwise he could have just been like, you know what, then I'm going to hold off on the knocking ceremony. He could have said that, but he didn't. So Niles wanted to do the knocking ceremony to show his intentions of marrying Matilda, but he didn't want to get married right away. So Mr. Ark was like, I wasn't pressuring him. He made up his own mind that he wanted to do the knocking ceremony. And I was just clarifying to him that if you're going to do this, then this has to follow. So when Niles comes back on stage, Mr. Ark, like the true father figure that he is, reprimanded Niles for even walking off stage. He was like, Niles, you need to control your emotions. You need to control your temper. You walking off stage was not right. It was disrespectful to everybody else on stage. And you're going to have to apologize to everybody. Not just me and Matilda, but you have to apologize to everybody on stage. And so Niles listened to his father and apologized. So the way that Niles keeps referring to Mr. Ark as his father, I wonder how his actual father really feels about that. If he's even watching the show. I don't even know if his parents are even watching. But if they are watching this, I wonder how his dad feels to see Niles calling another man his dad and referring to him as his father. But that's neither here nor there. Adnan tells Niles again that he felt disrespected by what Niles had said to him. And it was only Niles. Okay, so once again, like when Niles came back on stage, Adnan was like, you take back what you said, and say you're sorry for what you said to me about me and my wife. And Niles wasn't gonna back down at all. But it wasn't just Niles who had something to say about Tiger Lily and Adnan's marriage. Everybody on stage was of the belief that Adnan was controlling. And he is. And it's obvious. But the thing is that Tiger Lily doesn't care. She doesn't mind that. So I think that everybody should have just backed off because obviously, everyone is like caping for Tiger Lily by trying to let her see that, oh, your husband is so controlling and you deserve so much better. But she doesn't want better. She wants Adnan, and she wants Adnan in all of his controlling ways. So it didn't make any sense to me why people were trying hard to go after Adnan when Tiger Lily is perfectly fine with how Adnan is. So they talk about whether or not Niles repaid Mr. Ark because Mr. Ark had lent him money for paying for the wedding and paying for the bridal price. And yes, Niles did repay Mr. Ark everything that he borrowed. Matilda says that she is looking forward to coming to America and starting a family with Niles. And hopefully they can get that going soon because I feel like Matilda and Niles really do have a chance. And Niles he's very comfortable with Matilda, and it's like he really needs her to keep him grounded and to help him with all of his issues. And so I hope that it does work out between the two of them. Then they all take a break. And during the break, Tiger Lily tells us that she didn't feel like she had to defend her husband. She thought that, Adnan was perfectly within his right to act the way he did. And I thought that that was really crazy that Tiger Lily saw nothing wrong with how Adnan was acting on that stage towards basically everybody, but more specifically towards Niles. And that she never once told him to calm down because she knows better. Basically, I think Tiger Lily knows better. If she would have gone against Adnan in any way, if she would have stopped him from acting so crazy, I think she would have paid for it later when they got back home. Tiger Lily says that Matilda is using Niles for his money. And I'm like, Tiger Lily, did you not watch the show at all? What money is Matilda using Niles for? What money? When he was in Ghana, he had no job. He had nothing in his bank account. He couldn't pay for her wedding gown. He couldn't pay for the bridal price. He had to borrow money from Mr. Ark. Like, how is she using him for money when he has no money? He has nothing. Okay. I'm pretty sure it's great that he's working now, but I'm pretty sure that, he's working paycheck to paycheck. He's not making a ton load of money. And so it's going to take him a while to save enough money to pay for all of her immigration stuff. So, like, how is she using Niles for money? I don't understand that. So I thought Tiger Lily was like talking nonsense. And then I had read an article, I think it was on Screen Rant or something, where it talked about how, first of all, how both Tiger Lily and Adnan are very problematic. And there was some, rumblings going on that maybe TLC has canceled them and that they may not come back, if they were meant to come back, because of how Adnan talked to Niles and to Brian, especially when he told Brian that he wasn't going to take advice from a guy in a wheelchair. And Tiger Lily had said that she didn't believe that Niles was autistic and that he was faking being autistic. And I think it's because of those comments. She didn't say this on the tell all, but she had said this either on her social media platform, on Twitter, or somewhere. She had said that she didn't believe that Niles was really autistic and that he was faking it. And maybe because of those comments, TLC may not renew any of their contracts or bring them back again, but who knows? So yeah, Tiger Lily and Adnan are very problematic. Then Bojo, when they come back on stage after their break, Bojo returns. And I'm just kind of like, why? You didn't want to talk to us then, so we don't want to hear from you now. Like, you're done. Bojo, you're done. We're finished with you. You have nothing more to add to anything. Especially the fact that you and Vanya only interacted for like a day and then you dumped her. Like, there's no reason for Bojo to come back. I am not interested in anything that Bojo has to say. You're too good to answer any questions. You had this really important life or death meeting. Go back to your meeting. Go handle whatever the hell you're handling over there. We don't need you back on stage. Moving on to Joe and Magda. So they said that they're still going strong. Magda seems like really happy. Oh yes, we're still together and we're still really happy. And Magda did come to the United States. She met his family. She met his friends. Evidently, everybody loved her. She loved everybody. And but they're still not engaged. And Joe had said during the season that in order for him to propose to Magda, he wanted her to meet his family and friends, and he wanted to get the okay from them before he would propose to Magda. So she came to the United States. He got the okay from his friends and family, but they're still not engaged. And he said that he didn't want to propose to her because he felt like it was going to be really forced and it wasn't going to be natural. And he, because of the fact that she was expecting a proposal in the United States, he didn't want to do it that way. He wanted to like have an element of surprise to it, and he wanted to do it when it felt natural to him. So Brian asked, how long is Magda willing to wait? And Magda was like, I don't know. What can she say? I think that Magda will wait for however long it takes, because I think Magda does not want to break up or leave Joe. I think she's very smitten by Joe. So I think she's going to wait however long it takes. I don't think she's going to give him a deadline, and then if that deadline passes, she's going to break up with him. I don't see that happening. I think that she is going to stick this out until he either proposes or until he's done with her. Um, Joe tells us that Magda was asking about the proposal like once a week. She was really, really pressuring him and badgering him about the damn proposal. Sean asked everyone if Magda is pushing Joe to get married. Brian and Niles said yes. I say yes as well. I think she is really putting the pressure on him. They showed the scene where Joe. So there was that scene where the producers had gone to Joe's apartment to pick him up to take him to the airport. They were running late because Joe had overslept. And when they were on their way to the airport, Joe made them turn back around, go back to his apartment because he said he forgot his passport. Well, come to find out, it wasn't his passport that he forgot. It was his alcohol that he had forgotten. And he wanted to take the alcohol with them to the airport. And everybody on stage was basically like, you were risking, missing your flight to be, to see Magda over alcohol, kind of like, he really didn't take it very seriously that this girl was waiting for him, had been waiting for him. And so he would rather take the risk of missing his flight and not see her at all because of alcohol. And he was like, well, I wasn't going to pay, extra to buy the alcohol at the airport or on the plane. So they asked Magda, how do you feel about that? And she was like, well, I know he drinks a lot. And I was like, girl, what does that mean? What does that mean? Like, that was to me a very loaded statement. Like, what does that mean? He drinks a lot. Um, are you implying that he might have a problem? Um, is it a sign of a problem if he's willing to risk a flight and waste everybody's time to go back and get his alcohol and then to lie about the fact that he wanted to get his alcohol and told them that he wanted to get his passport? Like, are these indications of a problem? I don't know. So, but in reality, okay, he went back to get the alcohol. So they all got on him for that. And they asked, okay, so after that, they took a break and there was this interaction between Vanya, Tiger Lily, and Adnan. So first it was just between Vanya and Tiger Lily. And I think Vanya was asking Tiger, she wanted to get more information or she was trying to figure out, is he really controlling? Are you dressed like this because of him? But she couldn't get that far because Adnan joined them. And so then they started talking about how Vanya was dressed. And Adnan was like, you're showing too much and you just want all this attention. You're dressed like you want a lot of attention. And Vanya told Adnan, I'm not dressed like this for attention. I'm dressed like this because this is what I like. And even Tiger Lily was like, yeah, you're dressing in a way that makes you feel good about yourself. And then Tiger Lily said that she was going to go back upstairs and then Adnan was going to follow her. And Vanya was like, Adnan, why are you leaving? I thought we were having a conversation, me and you. And Adnan was like, no, 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 no. I can't talk to you without my wife being present. So when they got back on stage, Sean Robinson asked about that. So she was asking them, what was really going on in that conversation. And Tiger Lily said that it's disrespectful for my husband to have a conversation with a woman and I'm not present. Just like I wouldn't have a conversation with a man without him being present. And this is what we do to keep our marriage strong. And of course, everybody on stage was like, oh, that's crazy. That's weird. It basically shows like look, if it's for religious purposes, if this is not allowed in their religion, I'm not going to question that. I'm not going to question that. But if it's more so because there's no trust between them, then that's a problem. That's an issue. Because, like, I don't know if Tiger Lily is works or if she plans to. There's like, what happens, or if he gets a job, like, there's going to be moments when your spouse isn't there and you have to have a conversation with the opposite sex. So I like, how does that work? If, for example, Adnan is at work and he's in his office and the secretary walks in and then wants to talk to him about something, does he call Tiger Lily and say, hey, can you come and stand here while I'm talking to the secretary because I can't talk to a female? Like, I don't understand. Like, is this really for religious purposes or is this because y'all just don't trust each other? Or is it because y'all are going tit for tat where because he doesn't allow her to have conversations with men without him being present. And so then she turns around and wants him to do the same thing just because she can't do it. He doesn't want him to do it. It seems like it's probably that. That's what it seems like to me. His religion probably dictates that she can't have conversations with men without her husband being present. And she's just like, well, if I can't do it, then you can't do it, which I think is kind of immature, but whatever. Sunny and Vea. So they talked to us about how they broke up when Vera returned to the United States. Her reason for why they broke up didn't make any sense to me. She said that they had broken up because they were still trying to process what went down with Sonny's dad. How Sonny's dad basically was like not wanting to have a relationship with Sonny anymore because Sonny was gonna because Sonny had proposed to Vea. So she was like, when I came back to the United States, and we were really struggling with that. Like, I don't understand what y'all were struggling for, because Sonny was like, well, I don't care what my dad says. It's troubling. It's painful. It hurts me that he doesn't want to have a relationship with me, but I'm going to move forward with what I want to do with you. So where was the struggle? He had made up his mind that no matter what, he wanted to be with Vea. Where was the struggle? But she said they were struggling. And so they broke up. And during their breakup, she went out on a date with somebody else. She said it was just one date. There was no physical contact of any kind, no hugs, no kiss, no nothing. They went to Disneyland or Disney World, probably Disneyland because she lives in Florida. They went to Disneyland and it was no big deal. Or is it Disney World in Florida? Whichever. So it was no big deal. And she was on the up and up with Sonny about it. And she said Sonny knew. She told Sonny all about it. But Sonny said that he was okay with it until he saw pictures of their date on her social media. And he got upset. He got really jealous. And it was because of who the guy was that she had gone out on this date with. And the guy that she went out with was her dog sitter. And he was on the show because when she was getting ready to leave for South Africa, she went to his house and she dropped off her dog at his house and we saw him. And so Sonny was upset that the date was with the dog sitter because Vea had sworn to him that the dog sitter was just a friend, just platonic, nothing going on, just like she said about Rory, that now they're just friends, it's strictly platonic, nothing's going on. And so he was upset because he was confused. He's like, you told me this guy was just a friend, that you had no feelings for him, but then you go out on a date with him. Like, what's going on? But Vea said that they worked through it. I can tell in this relationship that Vea is probably like the one that's the most controlling, that she kind of steers where this relationship goes, because she kind of like blew over all of that. She was like, he got mad, he got jealous, but we talked about it, we worked through it, now we're good. Kind of like, no, nothing to see here, no questions to ask. I'm letting y'all know we're all good now. And I was like, there's a lot of questions to ask about this, because did you have feelings for this guy that you said that you didn't have feelings for? Like, why were you interested in going out with him if it was completely platonic and he's just a friend and he's just your dog sitter? Why did you feel the need to go out on a date with him? Like, did you develop feelings later? And I know Sonny must feel some kind of way. He must have a little bit of insecurity, knowing that he has no contact with her because they live in two separate countries. She is living near a guy that she had gone out on a date with, and living near a guy that she used to have a romantic relationship with. I know Sonny stays up late at night, many nights, many nights, stressed out over Vea and what the hell she's doing in America. Okay, so after that, Sunny said that okay, now they're back together, everything is fine. Adnan tells Sunny to be a man. He tells Sunny, be a man, be controlling, be jealous. Why would Adnan advise Sunny to be controlling when he claims that he is not controlling to Tiger Lily? And Tiger Lily vouched for that. He's not controlling. But then you're telling another man to be more controlling towards his fiance or his girlfriend. So Adnan was like, you need to be more controlling, Sonny. You need to be a man. You need to be jealous. All the toxic traits, all the toxic things he's telling Sonny to be. And Sonny stood up for himself and he was like, I'm trying to cultivate a healthy relationship. So no, I'm not going to be any of those things. I'm not going to be controlling. I'm not going to be jealous, because it's not going to help my relationship grow and blossom. And I'm trying to, make something happen between me and Vea. Sean asks if men and women can be platonic friends. Vanya says, of course they can, because I have a ton of male friends and we're just friends. And Niles says that if it's not in you to cheat, then why would there be a problem with you being friends with the opposite sex if it's just not in you? Which I thought that was a good point. If it's not in you to be unfaithful, then why would it matter if you had friends of the opposite sex? And that made me wonder, like, it makes me wonder, like, between Tiger Lily and Adnan, the insecurity between the reason why they don't allow the other to talk to the opposite sex without the other one being present and all this nonsense. I'm like, no wonder they keep a very short leash on each other because they lack trust. They lack trust. And if I was Tiger Lily, I wouldn't trust Adnan. I would not trust Adnan. I really wouldn't. I don't think he's trustworthy. I think it's very easy for Adnan to be tempted by other women. I don't think he is trustworthy. I really don't. Anyways, so they started Vaya and Sunny. They have started the K1 visa process. Adnan asked Sunny about the whole premarital sex. Like, why would you have sex before you got married? Because that goes against our religion. And Vaya says that if someone doesn't want to be a strict Muslim, they don't have to be a strict Muslim. And then for whatever reason, this particular comment just completely made Adnan explode. And he yelled at Vaya, what is that? What is that uh effing that's coming out of your mouth? I mean, he cussed her out and he got loud with her. And then Tiger Lily is just sitting there. And I think, like I said before, I think she knows better. If she tries to calm him down or interrupt him or intervene in any way, he's going to turn that wrath on her. So she just sits there very quietly. And he's like, what's that shit coming out of your mouth? Just yelling and screaming at Vaya for like no reason. And so Sunny tries to explain to himself how, yes, he messed up by having premarital sex. It goes against his religion and whatnot. And he says, but, he tries to repent and he tries to ask Allah for forgiveness and he understands the error of his ways and he just tries to do better next time. And Adnan says, he compares him and Tiger Lily to Vaya and Sunny. And he says, well, we waited until we got married. But y'all got married the first day that y'all met. I mean, her luggage wasn't even completely off the plane before y'all hurried up and got married so that y'all could have sex. It wasn't like y'all were showing incredible restraint by withholding sex for like months and months or years. Okay, as soon as she landed in Jordan, y'all got married. Come on, Adnan. Seriously, y'all didn't wait that long. Y'all waited like a few hours before y'all could get it on and pop it in the hotel room. Please, Adnan, you can't compare the two. So Tiger Lily asks Sunny if he expects Vaya to convert to Islam. And I think this was a loaded question. She knew exactly what he was going to say. She just wanted to start conflict between Sunny and Vaya. Sunny said that he does expect her to convert at some point. She doesn't have to do it right now. Vaya was like, I'm not converting at all, period. And Sunny was like, well, I just need to, she's not going to, I can't expect her to convert overnight. I'm going to just, show her all the benefits of Islam and teach her the ways of Islam. And throughout time, over time, she's going to gradually gravitate towards my religion and she's going to convert. So he thinks it's going to happen eventually. And she's telling him it's not going to happen at all. So when they kept on going back and forth, Vaya put a stop to it because, like I said, I feel like she controls the relationship because Sunny is his nose is so wide open for Vaya. He lets her. And so Vaya was like, we're going to talk about this later. We'll talk about this later. Like, this is they're not going anywhere. It's showing the cracks in our relationship. So we're going to talk about this off camera. So, he basically was like, I need time to change her. She's going to eventually convert. I just need time to work on her. And I thought that was very, very telling. They talk about Sunny's dad. And Sunny said that there's a lot of tension between him and his father. He said that when they do talk, they only talk about business, strictly about business, and that closeness that they had is not there anymore. That close father-son relationship is not there anymore. Sunny says eventually his dad is going to get over his anger. Eventually. It might take a month, it might take a year, but he's going to get over it. Vaya said that if she could redo anything, she would definitely have redone how she presented herself towards Sunny's dad. That she would have totally covered up her tattoos. I guess she wouldn't have been as defensive or combative. She totally would have changed her whole entire exchange with Sunny's dad. Sunny admits that love has made him blind. That's very obvious because the things that you put up with her bringing her ex-boyfriend. You put up with her breaking up with you just to go on a date with somebody else. You put up with a lot of stuff from Vaya. So yeah, I don't think he's going to make her convert. I do not think at all that he's going to make her convert. And then when they were talking about religion and they had asked, would you convert for her? And he said no. I'm not exactly sure when that happened. And he said, no, I'm not going to convert. I would not convert to Christianity. She has to convert to Islam. And they were like, why? You respect your religion. She respects hers. Like, what's the difference? He said, well, because I'm the man. She has to follow me. Yeah, we'll see how that works out. And then Adnan insinuated that Vaya probably cheated on Sunny with the dog sitter, that it wasn't during a breakup, that she probably just cheated on him. But I don't think she would have cheated on him and then posted pictures of it on her social media. And Sunny did admit that he saw the pictures on social media. So I highly doubt that she was still with Sunny, well, not with this other dude behind his back, took pictures and posted it, knowing that Sunny was still following her on social media. I don't think he cheated. I think that they did have a breakup. But I don't think they broke up because they were struggling over the whole dad issue between Sunny and his dad. I think they broke up because she wanted to see other people. So Vea felt really offended when Adnan insinuated that she had cheated on Sunny. They asked Sunny, do you believe her when she tells you that she didn't cheat? And of course, Sunny's going to say, yes, I believe her. Moving on to Brian and Ingrid. So they haven't seen each other since the breakup. Now, okay, first of all, let me say this about Brian and Ingrid. I think Brian and Ingrid were not a real couple. I think that Brian, contacted Ingrid and basically proposed to her this idea to be on this show, and that he was going to pay her money. He was going to give her a cut of his earnings from TLC, and they were going to be on this show, and it was going to benefit both of them in some way. Because when they first met and throughout their whole entire relationship or their whole entire interactions in Brazil, there was nothing between them that screamed, we have been a couple for 2 years and we love each other and we're trying to work this out. It did not seem like that to me at all. When you compare, like, just everything they did was so different compared to like Niles and Matilda, how they interacted with each other, or Sunny and Vea, or Joe and Magda, where you can actually see emotion and closeness between these other couples. There was none of that between Brian and Ingrid. So I think they were in cahoots to be on this show, or he persuaded her to get on this show to make a couple of bucks, because everything about them was awkward. Even that scene where he had brought her the lingerie to wear and he was trying to rub the lotion on her, even that was extremely awkward. Whereas the other couples, they can't wait to get down and dirty and they're kicking out the camera crew because, they're trying to get it in. But Brian, I mean, nothing even happened because he ended up leaving the room because she wouldn't allow him to do certain things. She wouldn't allow him to perform certain acts on her when they couldn't have, actual intercourse. And so I didn't buy Brian and Ingrid. And then when they brought the daughter out, the daughter said that it was just like one big blind date. And what is a blind date? Two people who meet to go out on a date but know nothing of each other, know nothing about each other. So for the daughter to refer their whole interaction in Brazil as one big blind date, it seemed like they knew nothing about each other. There was no familiarity. There was no closeness between them. There was no emotion. There was no love. There was nothing. And the fact that she knew nothing about him, she knew nothing about his marriages, his engagements, didn't even really know his real age. I just like, this seems very much plot, like this was planned and plotted just for them to get on the show. Maybe more so for him. I can see Brian being that kind of guy that's going to try to come up with a plan to be on a television show to gain notoriety or to make money or whatever, chasing clout or whatever you want to call it, and convincing this young lady to do this with them for some money. Then he tried to bring up the fact that she had two baby daddies, and she was like, I'm not even going to dignify that with a comment. Like, what does that have to do with anything? I don't know why he brought that up. Like, you knew this, that she had two kids by two men, and it was fine with you. It was worth you traveling to Brazil to be with her, supposedly. So, like, why are you bringing that up now to try to make her look bad? Um, he said that she had a boyfriend that night, the whole night where she, when he brought her the lingerie and all of that. Um, he said that after she kicked the camera crew out, but it wasn't really to be intimate with him. It was to basically tell him, and I guess she didn't want it on camera. She wanted to let him know that she had a boyfriend. And when they asked Ingrid about it, Ingrid didn't said that I told him that I met someone. Okay, so that really didn't clarify anything. And people on stage, the cast, they were very confused. Like, what are you talking about? What? It didn't make any sense. Like I said, if it doesn't make sense, it's not true. I don't believe that Ingrid and Brian were a real couple. She's talking about meeting someone. He's talking about the fact that she had a boyfriend. Her not knowing anything about him. I just don't believe them. I don't know what else to say about them. I think they were a fake couple. Moving on. After that, they take a break. And so Vanya, Niles, and Brian were having lunch together. And they were talking about Adnan. And, Niles was like, I'm standing up for my woman. And Vanya told Niles, yeah, I like how you stand up for Matilda against Adnan. And then Niles says, I think me and Matilda have the strongest marriage out of everybody here. And Brian and Vanya were like, hold up, pump your brakes, Niles, because there was a lot of things that you and Matilda did not discuss. Very important things that a married couple should discuss with one another. Y'all are not on the same page as far as like children, and the marriage was very, very rushed. It seems like y'all were getting married for like the wrong reasons, either for whatever. Like, it just seems like everything was really rushed. So don't jump the gun and say that y'all have the healthiest relationship out of everybody. And then Lauren, Joe, and Adnan, they were having lunch together. Well, Adnan didn't even eat. He gave he told his wife Tiger Lily to take the food and go somewhere with it. And he sat with Lauren and Joe. And he was like, I don't know if I really want to sit with y'all because, I don't like anybody here. And then y'all are going to start saying things to make me mad. And Lauren was like, no, we're not. We're on your side, bro. We're on your side. And he turns to Joe and says, aren't we on his side? And Joe was like, leave me the hell out of this. Because Joe believes that Adnan is very controlling towards Tiger Lily. Joe is not a fan of Adnan. I don't know how Lauren had missed that. So he was like, well, maybe y'all are not going to come at me, but the others are going to come and attack me at some point. And he was just very uptight, very defensive, didn't want to eat. And then here comes Niles. And so Niles and Adnan have another confrontation. And they got all up in each other's face. And Niles was telling Adnan, basically like, I didn't like what you pulled in front of my father, Mr. Ark. Basically trying to once again disrespect him and make him apologize and make him eat his words about what he said about him and Tiger Lily's marriage. And he was like, I don't like how you talk to me in front of my father. And he got all up in his face. And then, security or whoever had to come and separate them. And Adnan is extremely problematic. Tiger Lily, I feel for you, girl. I don't know what you see in this man. I don't know if he got caught up in his looks. He's a good looking guy. I can see why he's a model. But then when he opens his mouth, y'all, it is downhill. When he opens his mouth, all the handsomeness just drains away, and you see what you're really working with, and what you're really working with is not attractive at all. And I can't believe that she's going to put this man in her children's lives. He's so immature. I don't think he's ready for marriage. I think he's still at that stage where he needs to explore, he needs to mature, he needs to be on his own. He is not in a position to be anybody's husband right now. I really don't think so. But Tiger Lily, I don't know what it is about this man that has gotten her so infatuated. I don't know if it's the fact that if it was just based on his looks. I don't know if it's she likes to be controlled. I don't know what it is about Tiger Lily. I don't know. But he showed how immature he was throughout this whole reunion. And it's like he's very disappointed that people are not glorifying his marriage, or they're not like holding him and Tiger. I guess they walked into this thinking that they had the best marriage. And when people began to tell them exactly what they thought of their marriage, it really crushed them. And I don't know if he's second guessing himself for marrying Tiger Lily. I don't know what's going on, why he has this desperate need to be validated by other people regarding his marriage. Like the way he keeps on forcing Niles to apologize and forcing Niles to say that you and Tiger Lily are fine. Y'all are okay. Y'all's marriage is very strong and wonderful. Like, if you don't care about these people, because he kept on saying, I don't care about these people, then why do you need to be validated by them? And Tiger Lily told him, who cares what they think? So, yeah, part 3 and hopefully the last part is next week. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video if you like this content, subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.